Hello, everyone. This is Denise at Something Beautiful Handcrafts. And as you can see, there's a wheel in front of me. So, a couple months ago, I don't know, it's been a while, I showed me in the process of carding the Dorset horn, and I have successfully carded all of the Dorset horn. Can't even remember how much of it. Maybe it's 3 pounds or so, or whatever. But this is not all of it. This is bag number one. And so the purpose was to start spinning and knitting more sweaters and vests. That is the goal. I even bought the sweater book from Amazon. So I'm hoping that takes place in a timely fashion. At this very moment, it is July of 2025. I want to spin this fiber up, and I want to have knitting on my needles for this fall and winter. That's going to take quite a bit because there is a lot going on, and I've kind of divided myself all over the place. But I mean, I do have time. It's just really being more focused and intentional because I just don't have the big swaths of time that I've had over the past like 10 years. And to be honest, I'm just getting older. And it's like that. So, at any rate, I'm going to get spinning. So, hopefully, you'll be able to hear me over top of that air conditioner because it's July and I'm most certainly not turning it off. And this extremely wild pattern dress I'm wearing is not too distracting. But I wanted to make some crack about how I feel like it's been so long since I spun anything, I can hardly remember how to do it. But I've been spinning so long that this is a muscle memory that I probably will never forget. And so it's been less about me not spinning and more about me not recording. And even so, less about me not recording and more about me not posting the things I record. Though it has been a while since uh, this particular spinning wheel has seen some action. I think the last time I actually used it was in January of 2025 at the Rust Belt Fiber Shed Symposium. And basically, just because I've been doing a lot of other things, still working on the new house, working in the greenhouse, trying to put my doll channel back together. Basically, just working too. Going through just getting older and not having the kind of energy that I had when I was younger. I don't think I've ever actually mentioned how old I actually am, but when I first started making videos, that was what maybe, well, I made some videos before that, but I think it was randomly like maybe 2013, 2012, 2013. And that was 10 years ago. And I was 34, 35. So I'm very close to 50 now. And if you're a lady, and you know what, probably if you're a guy too, you go through some changes. Like, you're not, I don't want to say you're old because I always like to make a joke about me being old. But once you cross like 35, things just change, you know? Especially if you have uh, responsibilities. I don't have any kids, but I have other responsibilities, and I have family members with kids, and now I'm back to working with kids. So life is just complicated. So I just have to allocate my time in different ways. I need to get my life together, basically. So I'm going to spin and probably play some music and just do this for a while. Okay, so let me say this. As I am talking, I probably should release that brake just a bit. As I'm talking, sometimes while you're talking, there are things you miss, even if you're looking at it. It's just a You're splitting your concentration. So occasionally you'll see me stop, and I'm doing one of two things. Either I pulled something too thin, I'm laying fiber back over top of that space to thicken it up, or I didn't pull something thin enough and there was a nep or a really big slub. And there's the difference between the two of those for me. And I would like to even it out. Depending on how big the slub is, if it's a slub for me, is a space where I just did not pull out enough fiber. Okay, so I could go and tease that back out, stretch it out. A nep for me is a piece of short fiber, like this one right here. Well, let me see, that might actually be a slub. Nope, that one is a slub. Okay, let me see if I can find a nep. Most of the time I get them all out as I am processing. Okay, this is a nep. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. This guy is a short piece of fiber, and it will peel and produce those little lengths that come out of your sweaters and other things, even for acrylic yarn. So neps I pull out because they're short and they're going to peel. Slubs are just fibers that are not coned or processed properly, and they need to be separated. So I'll separate slubs, and sometimes I won't, depending on, like I said, on how big they are, how thick the yarn is going to be. But neps I will always stop to pull out, and occasionally there's one in there, because I don't card this fiber or comb it more than one pass most of the time. I'm just flicking the ends, and so you can see the crimp is still in the fiber because I'm not completely straightening it. I'm really, for the most part, most concerned about removing vegetable matter and any other debris, and not so much with straightening the fiber. Unless, and you know what, most of the time that's not necessary, because when you get a nicely shorn fleece, the fiber falls apart in these locks, like in these chunks. And so a lot of times I just grab a chunk and I open it up, release the VM, and remove any short pieces that may be in there. See, this is a slub right here. It's actually a long piece of fiber. I could have let it go. I decided that I'm not going to. Then I let the twist go all the way up. And then I'm going to rejoin. Okay, anyway, so when you get the fleece, it falls apart in these locks. And I usually just take a lock, a handful of a lock. I flick both ends. I release the vegetable matter. And I get rid of any second cuts so they won't produce naps. And I flick both ends. And unless there's a whole lot of vegetable matter in between the locks, that's pretty much all I do. Okay? Not a big problem. There are some fibers that will lose their lock formation once they're washed. I try to wash carefully with minimal agitation. But fibers like that, I flick more, or I might actually run those through the drum coater. That's just a slab. For the most part, I handle most of this as I'm spinning. And I'm not scouring the life out of my fleece. So I would probably say that 100% of the lanolin is not removed. Okay, so this is where I'm going to go ahead and spin and let the music play. And so that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.